Hi, I'm Dr. David Dow, and we're here in our chiropractic classroom. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is, I get so many questions about it. What are the benefits of chiropractic upper cervical work? Why do we want to work in the upper neck so much? And there's an incredible number of benefits that come from working in that area. So first off, how that area can get injured is going to be concussions, head injuries, fall, car accidents, sports injuries, so many different ways that can happen. And so many people will get those injuries over time. We see wrestlers getting their head hit in there and headlocks. And there's so many different ways that we can injure that, slips and falls on the ice. But after that injury, the reason why this area is so important and why we want to get our head on straight, basically, is because those nerves up here are our senses. That's going to be our sense of sight, hearing, smell, taste. Those nerves also control sense of balance, sense of coordination, body position, memory, and so many other functions. So it can be absolutely amazing. So when I say coordination, sense of coordination, those nerves that are there have to do with how our brain connects to our body, and then really how our body connects to our environment. And that is such a huge thing. So I love to test people's coordination, see how it's working, because if coordination is off, that means your brain is not connecting to your body or your environment properly, and that causes a lot of problems. Now, also, that sense of coordination has to do with how smoothly the joints are moving. So if the joints are not moving in a coordinated way, they tend to break down. And since it's all the way up here, it can be down one entire side of the body. So if somebody's having problems on the left side of the body or on the right side of the body, the injury's got to be way at the top to be having that kind of an effect. Now, those nerves are also going to relate to our hormones in the body. So right up there at the brainstem is a really important area called the pituitary gland. And that pituitary gland releases 17 different hormones down the body. Now, one of the important hormones it releases is called growth hormone, which has to do with how your muscles are. And loss of muscle mass is the number one bioindicator of aging. So we want to make sure that growth hormone is working. Now, a way that pituitary can be affected is we know more recently from MRIs that we have now, or what they're called functional MRIs, is that the flow of the cerebral spinal fluid can be affected up there at the top. And if it's not flowing correctly, the cerebral spinal fluid pressure can build up in the brain, and that's actually what causes the damage to the pituitary. Really cool research out there, but we found that after you get adjusted, that flow improves dramatically. So we want to keep the pressure off of those nerves so that it can keep the pressure off the pituitary so it can be functioning. So growth hormone, things like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone can be damaged. And those relate to sexual function and fertility. So fertility problems, thyroid stimulating hormone can be damaged, and that can affect the thyroid and energy and metabolism. So if you're having thyroid problems, that could be the problem. And we want to make sure that curve is in the neck so that the cerebral spinal fluid pressure is not building up. We're going to see things like problems with the adrenals and cortisol being released. So there's hormones that stimulate adrenal and cortisol function. Melanocyte stimulating hormone can affect skin type problems. Endorphins, actually the release of that comes from up there, and that can affect so many of our natural painkiller things that we need. And the hormones that affect the immune system come from that area as well. So damage to those hormones can make it so the immune system problems can develop. Oxytocin, which has to do with love and bonding, but those nerves also go to the uterus and breast. So problems in those areas can have to do with oxytocin and pituitary problems. Prolactin, which relates to fertility and erectile dysfunction problems again, and vasopressin, which can relate to kidney problems. Now, another important part of the brain that gets affected is called the cerebellum, and the cerebellum is pretty amazing. It has to do with 90% of the stimulation and activity of the brain actually comes from the cerebellum. So it's like a battery, and it releases all this energy to the brain that stimulates brain activity. But the strongest thing that relates to the cerebellum is balance and coordination. And that balance and coordination relates to your athletic skill, how well you can shoot a basketball or how well you can hit a golf ball. But basically what your brain is doing is it's predicting that at some point in time, based on a number of variables, that ball is going to go through the hoop. And it makes all those calculations. But that same part of the brain also makes calculations like if you're going to start a business, it's going to say our business is going to become profitable at some point in the future based on all these different variables. And that's just an example, but the same part of the brain that can be affected from an upper cervical problem can also affect our ability to even run a business or achieve a goal that we want to try to achieve. So anyway, I just want to give you some idea of kind of the benefits that can come with working with the upper cervical neck. And the basics of that is, again, we just want to make sure that your head's on straight. We want to make sure the curve in your neck is exactly how it's supposed to be. A lot of those devices you see online for reducing neck pain actually make you lose the curve in your neck, and that is really not good. So we love questions. If you have any more questions for us, feel free to give us a call. Our number is 608-233-3588. We're here at 𝐏𝐢𝐭𝐮𝐢𝐭𝐿 Chiropractic and Acupuncture in Madison, Wisconsin. Celeste and I would love to help you. And thank you for watching.